So choose the biggest worry that you have right now. And let's use the example of the public speaking, because we have a professional public speaker here, Carl Richards, and thank you, Carl, for coming, where somebody says, I really want to talk about this important issue. People have to know. And I said, I totally agree. So we got to get you free and stop thinking that you have nothing to say. And I said, what's the worry? He says, I will be in front of a group of people and I will mess it up. And I just feel that I don't want to be made a fool of. Okay, so how long have you been thinking in that way, that you'll mess it up and it will be a total disaster? He says, a few weeks now, because I've been planning this for a long time and I'm speaking in a couple of weeks. I says, okay. So I want you to choose one the way I told this person to choose one. And now in your meditation, and I'm going to send you additional energy on this, I want you to choose the same worry and then tell your mind, for this one, I want you just to sit in the bleachers and we're going to tell a new story. We're going to tell the story of a person that's going to go up in front of a group of people. These 10 people. Yes, they are high executives. All of them are over a millionaire. I got that. And you tell these people exactly what they need to hear. And I want you to envision that you knock it out of the park, that you do so well that they are impressed and they're actually applauding. Can you visualize that? He says, yeah, I can do that. Okay, how long can you hold it for? Then one of those executives said, we have an event coming up. It's a small event. It's only 100 people. And I'd like you to be one of our public speakers. Would you be okay with that? And you say, gladly accept. And then when that day comes, you're going to get up in front of 100 people. And I want you to say what you need to say and see yourself knocking it out of the park. That is so clear, and your speaking ability, no stutter, your speaking ability was impeccable. And they loved it. And there was one person in the crowd that approached you after and says, we have another event coming up and there's 10,000 people that's going to be at this event and we would like you to be one of our speakers. And you gladly accept. And that, you also do the same, but you even do it better. And people loved it at the end, and you knock it out of the park. Then there's another person in the crowd that was among that 10,000 that says, we have another event coming up, and there's going to be over 500,000 people there. And in other words, you're telling the story, and instead of your mind taking control and it gets worse, I want your soul, your heart to take over and make it get better. And every time, see yourself just knocking it out of the park. Now, here's the thing. What Spirit is saying, those of you that have harbored the worry energy, and this is again going back to a little bit of heredity, where some of that energy will come in, and in your vision, you'll say something wrong, or you'll start to stutter, or you'll start to mix itself up. You just back up, Spirit is saying, and then saying, no, thank you, and then say it the way you want. Because realize this, a worry, whether it's negative or positive, has not happened yet. They're all thoughts. You are just working with a thought. It is impossible to embarrass yourself in front of people when it has not happened. And it is not possible to impress people if they have not listened to your speech. So when you back up and you can say it again impeccably, it's like it never happened. And then you say that and you knock it out of the park and just make the crowd bigger and bigger. And that's if the example is public speaking. If yours is the example that we had, you write the exam and you aced it. You got 100% on it. You got the diploma or the certificate, and you approached the job, and they hired you. And then implemented your way of doing things, and then you got promoted within 3 months, and your salary almost doubles. Then 3 months after that, they promote you again because you're just excelling, you're doing so well. In other words, have that go exponentially get bigger. If it's your health, you're worried about whatever health concerns you may have, and maybe you've already done a test and you're waiting for the results. Visualize that the results are going to come back favorable. And then they will say, well, if your health doesn't get better within the next 6 months, we will have to go in and operate. And you say, no, we're not. And then in those 6 months, if you have to lose X amount of weight to make it better, if you have to bring down your PSA, if you have to bring down some form of health risk, if it's diabetes, bring it down so that you are no longer diabetic. And see yourself doing whatever you need to do to be successful so that when they do a test in 6 months, you pass with flying colors. You're perfectly healthy. You have the body of a person that is like 20 years ago. And then you get better. And for that, you get better. In other words, tell the story of getting better. And in that energy, we're going to do the meditation, and it's going to help you get out of that slippery slope that we sometimes run into with worrying. And then we're going to ask you a couple of questions after and see how you feel. Because by this point, with the worry that you already have selected, you know how you feel after you've been worrying. You know it. We're going to ask you again at the end how you're going to feel about the same issue. Located on our Facebook page called Group Tuning Class with Tony. And until next time, namaste.